You look like a man who's very prepared, Chris. You do.
Do
Go
you
on
think,
then.
mate?
Yeah, I do. I think you have a lot of hooks,
Yeah.
and I want you to run us through your hooks for your pole fishing, if you
Yeah.
could.
So yeah, obviously I'll run you through like my summertime pole fishing hooks, what I use. Now my main two hook length boxes are these two, which are my Super LWG boxes, which are like my favourite hooks. I can use them for a lot of my summer fishing, anything from F1s up to like medium sized carp, I'd say, maybe even big carp in some of the bigger size of my Spade ends, but these two hook boxes do 99% of my fishing. And then I've got these two, which are like me heavier hooks for when I'm fishing for bigger carp, bigger waters. So talking through my Spade end hooks first is that one. Now I'm quite fussy with me different lengths of hook lengths. So I've got like 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch and 5 inch. Now I only got a few 2 inch because I don't use them very often. And I only tend to use them for F1 shallow when I'm fishing really shallow. But I don't, to be fair, I can't remember the last time I put a 2 inch hook length on. So that's why I only tie a few 16s on 013 for that, just for F1 shallow. But everything else I've got plenty of because I use all three of the other different sizes. So talking through the lengths of hook lengths first, 3 inch, I tend to use anything up to 18 inches of water. So yeah, anything up to 18 inches of water, 3 inch is perfect. I'd say 2 foot to 4 foot of water, I use a 4 inch hook length. And anything deeper I use a 5 inch, just because I like to do that because I can get them all in one box, different lengths, and it just allows your rig to be in proportion. Obviously you don't want to use a real long hook length when you're fishing in the mud line, and you don't want to use a tiny little short hook length if you don't have to in a deeper peg. So I like to cover me lengths of hook lengths.
So do you have all the same hook then to the same line at different lengths?
Yeah, same hook to the same line at different lengths. So basically all these, so there's 7 of each hook length, all of them are exactly the same no matter what segment you go at. So they basically range from an 18 to 013, which I might use for maggot fishing, 2 maggots, something like tunnel barn, partridge. 16 is like me good, like all round hook size, like can do a lot of different things with a size 16. So I tie them on 013, 015 and 017. Single corn, expander pellet, a little bit of a bigger bunch of maggots, maybe 3 or 4 maggots, piece of meat, 6mm meat goes on a 16 perfectly, so that does a lot of that, even maybe a piece of worm. And I've got some 14s, I've got them on 015, 017. Again, this is more your edge style fishing or a bigger up bait. And then I've got some size 12s on 019, which again, generally for when you're fishing down the edge. And then, yeah, I've got them in just different lengths. So yeah, all Super LWGs, all on N gauge, just a few different lengths. 18 to 013 up to a 12 on 019. That covers me for pretty much all my Spade end fishing. Like loads of me fishing there just in one hook length box, and plenty of them because obviously I'm doing a lot of fishing. If I go on a week-long festival, I'm using all the same hook as well. I want to make sure I've got plenty of them. It's no good just having 5 of each, because if I need plenty of one, I need to make sure I've got them covered.
So it's quite simple really. You've only got 7 different actual hook lengths.
7 actual different hook length variations, but just plenty of them all in one box. And that's what these are brilliant. I think this is the 6 inch hook box.
Yeah.
They're either a 6 or an 8. I think this is the 6 inch one. You see how long I've sort of all the good, well battered, well used, but I love them hook boxes.
I think they're called a rig case.
Yeah, I want to say it's a 6 inch adjustable rig case, that one. So they're really good. And then I've got another one of them, Super LWG bands. So I use the banded Super LWGs, I'll open it up. I only actually use them in 2 different strengths of line. I only actually use them in 013 and 015. And basically they've all got like quite a decent sized band on. And the reason I use that on these ones is because I might use them for casters shallow. So I use like a medium sized band. That's like a 4mm band sort of thing. To be fair, I'm not too fussy on the bands. It just depends which you've got like a good batch when I go in the tackle shop. They're all very similar, so I just have a look. I think they're matrix ones at the minute on them. And I've got, like I say, I only have 013 and 015. And I've got an 18 to 013, 16 to 013, and I've doubled that up. So I've got 2 pins of them, so I've got plenty of them, because they're the ones I use a lot. And then I've got a 16, 015, and again, I've doubled them up as well, just so I've got plenty of them hook lengths. Obviously, when you've got the banded hook lengths, you can't fit as many on the pin, so I do like to double it up and make sure I've got plenty. Again, 2 inch, 3-inch, 4-inch, and 5-inch. And I only do that, them variations. That's all I have.
Beautiful.
Make it nice and simple. And the reason I don't have any heavier is because personally now, when I go up to a heavier line, I step my gauge and my hook up slightly in the bands.
So that's mainly for your F1 cast to shallow.
Yeah,
kind of
cast to
fishing, innit?
shallow, maybe hard 4mm pellets, hard 6mm, maybe
Yeah.
anything up to, you know, medium-sized carp,
Yeah.
Snake Lake type venues. That does that. So all my Super LWG bands are in that box. The only thing line I have them on is 013 and 015. Again, just in a 6-inch adjustable rig case.
Beautiful.
So that's them.
Beautiful.
And then obviously, like I say, when I go heavier bands, I sort of step my hook up, and I've tried different hooks in the past, and I've tried like Super MWGs, which I think are maybe a little bit thick sometimes. I've tried like pellet wagglers, different hooks, but I've just come to the conclusion that these Matrix X6s are absolutely brilliant. I've tried loads, and since I got on them, I've never come off them really. So I've got some Matrix X6s. I've got them again. I've got some on 015. I've got 2 pins of 017, and then I've got a few on 019 as well. And then I did tie a few X8s up, which are a little bit thicker on 019 and 022. But to be honest, I don't tend to use them very often. It's more, to be fair, just these X6s. So I've got, again, 5-inch and 4-inch. I don't tie any 3-inch on these because generally when I'm fishing for big carp, I don't tend to use a 3-inch. So I didn't see the need to tie them up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
3-inch is more my shallow fishing for F1's length. So I've got a couple of pins of 017, and then I've got 4-inch 015, 5-inch 015, and then 4 and 5-inch 019.
Pretty simple stuff, but smaller bands on these ones.
Yeah, because I'm only going to use them for pellets, to be fair. So I could use a bigger band, but I just like to use a smaller band. I just feel like it's a little bit less obvious on your pellet, maybe, where you can.
I think it grips the pellet a little bit better
Grips
as well.
your pellet maybe a bit better as well. Just because I'm not going to fish a caster on these hooks, it's only going to be for pellets. I just use a smaller band. But yeah, that's me. Heavier carp banded hook length box, I'd say. And then the only other box I've got is, last few years I've fished the Golden Reel final on the Specimen Lake, and it's at Larford. When you go there, you need some proper gear, heavier than I use anywhere else, because they are particularly bigger fish. So I've got a box that I've just labelled up Speci, and to be honest, I've like fiddled about with this one, so all my hooks are not like, they're a bit mashed up together, if that makes sense. They're not very neatly organised. So I've got 12 excess Spade on 019, which is 5-inch. I've also got that in 4-inch, but up at the top of the box, if you see what I mean. They're not very neatly organised. Then I've got a 12 XS on 022. I did tie up some 10s on 019, and I was going to tie up some 10s on 025, but I actually found, to be honest, that I don't use the 10s in 019, so I just binned them off. So now I've just tied up 12 on 019, 12 on 022, a 10 on 022, and then the same in 4-inch. And then I've just got some Super MWGs in a size 14 on 019 and 022. And they're like me proper heavy banded up lengths for them massive carp. But that's literally just one box that I have when I go to somewhere like Larford. That's also another good up box that might be good if you go somewhere you've got like a mega snaggy peg.
Yeah.
You know, you need some real heavy gear, but to be honest, they come out once or twice a year, them hooks. They're a bit scary when you've got, especially that size 10 on 022 with like couple of worms, 3 worms maybe,
Some
or 20
strong
maggots, some proper gear. But you do need it, obviously, if you're going somewhere like Larford Specimen Lake. It's no good being undergunned, losing fish. It's no good for the fish either, carrying hooks around and stuff. You need to make sure your gear's up to the job. So, you know, I did tie a few of them up. And I just sort of, as I was going down there trying out different hook patterns and stuff, I just sort of like was been fiddling about with this box, and I just found, you know, that 14 Super MWG, real thick hook, which is what you need for them big fish. And again, them excess Spades, nice thick strong hooks for them big fish. So going through everything again, they're your main 2 hook length boxes. I've got Super LWG Spades, anywhere from 013 to 019. I've got some Super LWG bands, they're just on 013 and 015, because if I'm going to step up heavier, I move up to the X6 Matrix. And then I've just got me real heavy hook box there, which I've labelled up Speci, with some real thick hooks, stronger line, just in case I, you know, go somewhere which got some massive carp. And that's
that's
all
it.
my pole hook lengths. Again, they're always changing. That's why you see sometimes everything's a bit mixed up. Some's got pens, some's got stickers. I'm always like fiddling about with them to get everything right. But you know, them, to be fair, them two Super LWG boxes, I've sort of had that same sort of setup for, you know, since I've had these boxes, must be 6-7 years now probably, and I just keep using them. They're definitely a brilliant all-round hook box to carry with you when you're fishing on commercials.